Hi there, you are welcome once again. This lesson is meant for Primary 1, Term 2 and Unit 5. And the main topic is modeling and casting. And it has a sub-topic of modeling with clay and other materials. Modeling geometric and irregular shapes. Modeling geometric and irregular shapes. When we talk about modeling regular and irregular shapes, it simply means that trying to get shapes out of a material like clay, soft clay. You are going to build shapes which are going to be regular and irregular. So talking about our objective for the lesson, the objective is that by the end of this activity or section, pupils will be able to make very simple items by modeling geometric and irregular shapes using the material clay. Now, talking about the tools and materials we need for this lesson, the very first thing we don't want to look at are the tools. The tools like modeling sticks, like this or that. These are guide sticks which will help us to get a flat clay. This is called the rolling pin. This is what we use to press the clay with the help of the guide sticks to get a regular flattened clay. And this rolling pin always or regularly goes with another tool which we call the sack board. And this is the sack board. You see a board. This is an ordinary board which is wrapped with a sack. That's how come we call it a sack board. So these are the things we will need for our modeling and casting. And our main material for this lesson is clay, soft clay, or any suitable material that has the characteristics of this soft clay, provided it's malleable enough for modeling. We can use that one. Now let's talk about the activity the teacher is supposed to do when this lesson is being taught. First, the teacher will have to help pupils or students to find out things made of clay prior to the lesson. So some of the things that are made of clay, like we have cooler, we have the mashing bowl, also called the asanka or apotoyowa. In Chi, the mashing bowl, the one we use to mash tomatoes and pepper in our local kitchens. Or some mugs, plates, or even spoons, flower vases. These are things that are made out of clay. So we can show or exhibit to our pupils some of these items that have been mentioned so they will know that these are sort of things the clay is used for. You as a teacher will have to guide pupils to recount and discuss the qualities and uses of clay. Now, how does this clay look like? It is soft, therefore it's malleable. You can turn, twist it around, flatten it, cut. Those are some of the characteristics of soft clay, like this one. And what are they used for? They're uses for modeling. So some of the things you are going to use this clay for, you can list them, and these are some of the things you use clay for. Now, you the teacher will have to lead pupils to visualize and discuss the items they want to make with the clay. So you ask the pupils, what do you want to make with the clay? Is it a cup, a plate, a spoon, a flower vase? Using these very basic shapes, regular or irregular, you can build all these interesting things. Now, let's come to the next activity. The teacher will have to demonstrate various techniques of shaping clay into various forms. Example, balls, rope, which will look like the sausage which kids know about so much because of the Indomie that comes handy lately in our various kitchens. Then geometric shapes and irregular shapes, we can use all these things to demonstrate some of the techniques clay can be shaped into. The next thing you have to do as a teacher is to assist pupils to observe their shapes and create objects from them. For example, you create objects from clay, and these objects can be beads, butterflies, oranges, snakes, necklaces, meat pie, radio, shoes, musical instruments, and a lot of things that are so close to us. We use regular and irregular shapes in building all this. So these are some of the things you can show to your kids or pupils when it gets to this particular lesson. You have to display their works and appreciate them when everything is done, so they'll be able to talk about the works they've done and express themselves creatively, so that they will get a lot out of the activity they've done for that lesson. All this will be better explained when we go to the demonstration section, and I know you enjoy it. I'm ready to get in there to see what is happening in the demonstration section. If you are ready, let's get in there and enjoy ourselves.
Hi there, welcome to the art studio. In our previous lesson, we learned how to explore with modeling tools and materials, as well as how to cast forms from simple molds. In today's video, I will be demonstrating to you how to cut regular and irregular shapes from sheets of clay, and also how to model and cast forms from objects as well. Before we start with the demonstration, we have tools and materials that we will need for the lesson. We have a sackboard, that is our working board on which we are going to do our kneading and also to roll our sheets of clay. We have our rolling pin that is going to help us to press the clay to have a uniform thickness. We have our guidance sticks, which is also going to help us get uniform thickness of the sheet of clay. We have our pen top, which is going to help us with the incisions, since we don't want to use sharp objects in order to wound the pupils or the students. We have our ruler as well, which is going to also help us make incisions on the sheet of clay. We have our simple shapes, where we are going to have varieties of sizes in order to make the regular shapes as well. We have this material as well, which we picked around, which is going to help us to make our square shape as well. I have here a duster, which is also going to help me to get my rectangular shape on the sheet of clay. And our main material that we are going to use today is our clay, which is very plastic as well. So for us to get started, join me and let's make it happen. I assure you it's going to be fun and yet very educative. To start, I'll bring my clay out, and then another main tool that I forgot to mention is also my palm and my fingers as well, which is also going to help us very well. So I position my clay right here on the working area. With the help of the guide sticks, I just position them side by side. And I use my roller or my rolling pin to just press. But before I do so, I just have to use my heels to just hit and spread the clay in order to give it a surface for the rolling pin to pick it up easily. So I move gently, gently, gently. This is going to help us have a very flattened clay sheet. And as it spreads, now I can move the rolling pin a little bit faster. Depending on the thickness that you want, you can use a smaller guiding sticks as well. So this is what I have now. That is my clay sheet. So first of all, I just have to position this carefully. Probably if I think, or if you think the clay is too thick, you can still hit the surface of it with the heels of your palm and make it a little. So I think I have a very sizable thickness of clay that I can now cut my regular and my irregular shapes from. Okay, so I'll start by making a square. I'll use my pen top to just get the shape of the square. You have to do that very gently as well. So now I have my shape right on top of my clay. So I can now use my rule to cut through. Very gently, and this is where the teacher is supposed to go around and guide the students to cut out their shape from the clay. gently, and now the clay is gradually coming out. A cutting knife would have been much preferred, but for the safety of the kids, that is why we are using the rule. So this is my square cutout shape from the sheet of clay. That is very, very simple. So I have my square, which is done. I'll now take the rounded sellotape to just get the shape on the clay sheet. So I again pick my pen top and make the demarcation right on top of the clay. So after I have my shape, I take off, and since this is rounded, I would prefer using the pen top in cutting the shape because that one is easily to handle as compared to the rule. So gradually I'm cutting in, or I'm making an incision right inside the clay. I can feel that the pen top has gotten to the bottom of my clay sheets. Gradually, okay. Gradually. Yes. So I think I have my clay out now. And you can use your pen top to shape if the shape itself is not so much defined. So I'm taking the So I now have my rounded clay which has been cut out from the clay sheets. You see the thickness? It can be even bigger or even much smaller than this, depending on the size you want. So my circle has been cut out. I now move on to cutting a triangle. With a triangle, I don't have any updates here, but a triangle is very, very simple to come by, and therefore I'll just use the edge of the ruler to make a slight demarcation first to see if the shape is okay before I can now cut through. So I can see that my triangle has been gotten on the clay sheets, and therefore I'm now pressing harder to cut through the clay in order to get my triangle shape out of the clay sheets. So gradually, then one portion is gone. Gradually, another portion will soon go off, and then That's it. So that is my triangle. At any angle, it's still a triangle. It's a triangle. You see the thickness as well? That is the back. So, last but not the least regular shape I'm going to have is my rectangle shape. And therefore I'll position this here too and get the shape of my rectangle. After getting the shape, I can now use my rule to cut out that very fast. By so doing, you can just divide your students or your pupils into 4 or 5 groups, where each group can produce one and that is my rectangle coming out very neatly from the clay sheets. It's very simple. The only thing you need to do is just to guide the students or the pupils in order to come out with a very perfect shape. You can do all this and come up with an oval shape as well. And all these things are considered as geometric shapes. I hope you've seen the processes of making these geometric shapes. Join me and let's continue with the irregular shapes. Okay, so we are about to begin with the irregular shapes. And like we did earlier on in the first one, we have to get a clay sheet, that is to roll a clay to have a flat surface, and that is what I have here before me. And with the help of the pen top, I'm going to make demarcations on the clay surface. So offhead, what are some of the irregular shapes that you can think of? I can have something like the hat, or probably what we call lab. So I'll just draw my lab gently on the clay surface. Okay, so I have my lab gently on the clay surface, and therefore, like we did earlier on, we are supposed to cut through in order to bring the lab out of the clay sheets. So gradually we cut out the lab or the hats from the clay sheets. So simple. And that is the lab taken out from the clay sheets. The thickness as well, and behind it. So that is it. That one rests on the sandboard and wait for the others to come out. What's irregular shape again can you think of? So offhead, I have the shape of a small fish. So this is where you can ask the students to mention or the pupils to mention some of the things around them. And as a teacher, if they mention it and the items have irregular shapes, can ask them to just draw it on the clay surface, and then you help them to cut it out from the clay sheets. So I'm gently cutting out my fish from the clay sheets. Okay, so gradually my fish is coming out. Yes, here we go. This is my fish, which I got from the clay sheets. The shapes doesn't look well defined though, but yet it's an irregular shape. That is it. So that's the beak or the mouth of the fish as well. So that one to also rest.
Hi again. This particular lesson is a continuation of what has been done already in the modeling and casting section, which has been done already. This is a term 2 of the primary 1 unit 5 lesson, and this is a continuation of that one. Now, in this section we are going to talk about casting from molds. Casting from molds, and our main objective is to use a simple mold to cast a form. Now when we say casting simply means that picking a shape out of an item or a mold using clay or any malleable material. So duplicating the shape or the form of an item using clay or any material that has the characteristics of a soft clay. But for the sake of this lesson, we are going to cast within this bowl so that we get the form of the bowl. And that is the activity we are going to, or the demonstration section, that is what we are going to look at. Now, what are the tools and materials we need for this lesson? The very first one, as a way of a tool, is the mold itself. The mold can be calabash, even a coconut shell itself, a small bowl, a plate, a machine part, or any item that is around us which you can get a form out of, can be used as the mold. Then the materials that we can use are normal clay, soft clay like this one, or mashed paper, which is also called papier mâché. Soft pounded paper which looks or has the characteristics of a soft clay like this can also be used as a material for the casting. Now, looking at the work of the teacher in the classroom, in terms of this lesson, the teacher will have to display and guide pupils to identify, observe, examine, touch, smell, lift, and discuss the tools and materials. So all the tools and materials you are going to use, you would have to provide them and assist or allow this kids to come touch and have a first-hand feel of what these tools are. The next one is to assist pupils to discuss the purpose of casting. If you cast an object, you get a duplicate of it. So if you have a very durable mold, you can get a lot of shapes out of that mold. So that is one of the things you can talk to your people about in terms of casting. The next one is for you, the teacher, to demonstrate how to cast and finish simple forms with the help of a mold and clay or paper or papier-mâché, mashed paper. So you have to demonstrate how to cast and finish this work. Again, you have to guide pupils as a teacher to cast in groups and explain their process. What processes did you go through when you were doing your casting? For the sake of easy handling or class control as a teacher, you can group your students into 2 or 3. Then you assist them as and when they need your help, when you have to get them help. So, in doing all these things, the activity is going to be fun when you are readily available and trying to share ideas with them. Don't do it for them, but assist them to do what they want to do in a very interesting and fun manner. What are the skills and the values these kids are going to get when the lesson is done? The very first skill is casting, the second is shaping, the third is creativity, manipulation, critical thinking, and others. When it comes to the values, 1 is teamwork, 2 is concentration, 3 is cooperation. These are the things our kids are going to get. But don't forget, let them do the work, and when it's done, let them appreciate or talk about whatever activity or processes they've gone through, and that will help them do a lot of interesting things. It's always good and interesting in the demonstration room. So let's get there to have a first-hand demonstration of what we've talked about so far in casting from molds. So let's get in there.
I'm going to cast using this. I also need just a flat sheet of clay, and then I'll just cut around the clay. I wouldn't need so much clay as compared to the first one, so I'll just cut around some clay, and then I'll take the excess clay away from it. Okay, so what I'll do here is just to drop this clay on top of this mold, and then gradually I just press using the tongue gently. Gently. And as you can see, the clay has taken the shape of the rounded object. So gently you press. if you acquire the desired shape that you want, you can then take off the excess clay from the mold. So you have a deeper cut so that you can see where you are going to take your clay from. Yes. So you have our excess clay coming off. And therefore with a little push, you just push the clay gently out of the mold. Gently. Away. So finally, this is what I have. Very, very portable, which can even contain the eraser of the pupils. So it's very, very portable. It can be positioned right at the center of the pupils so that they can drop in any tiny things like their erasers in them, their sharpeners as well. And then it's going to serve as a center port for your students or your pupils. I hope you really enjoyed the lesson. Hope to see you in the next video. Thank you.